Throughout all the entertainment media I've consumed in my life, there's never been an experience quite like my first playthrough of The Last of Us. Even now, 6 years later, the memories of playing this game are so deeply etched to the back of my brain that I remember the week of my first playthrough probably more vividly than what happened just in the last few days. But I always thought of myself as a decently reasonable person, so the thought that an entirely fictional story could have such a big impact on me was quite puzzling. So, obviously, I invested even more time in the game by playing through it another 8 times and scouring the internet for every last crumb of content I could find about it. And seeing as I've now amassed tons of information about a game that gets more irrelevant every year, I thought that I'd at least try to save face by pretending that uploading a video essay on my 30 subscribed YouTube channel is somehow gonna make all those wasted hours worthwhile. Also, I originally wanted to make this video before the release of The Last of Us Part 2, but I just couldn't motivate myself to do so in time, which means that while the sequel did not end up disappointing me, I surely succeeded in disappointing myself. So, where do we start? Maybe with Joel, you know, he's kind of a cool guy, lost his daughter, subsequently his humanity, and now lives a life with no direction or drive, which, you know, same. Only choosing to keep on fighting for survival because he doesn't know how to do anything else. But then he meets Ellie, who's immune to the virus that has ravaged his world and is seen as its possible cure, and suddenly he thinks, yeah, I don't want to leave the safety of a quarantine zone to travel across the entire continental US with a girl I literally don't know just for the faint promise of developing a vaccine for a world I don't really care about. And honestly, fair enough. But then his partner Tess gets infected, and she sees the prospect of helping create a vaccine as a possible redemption for all the sins she and Joel have committed in the post-apocalypse. And with Tess gone, Joel has nothing left in his home quarantine zone in Boston, and thus chooses to grant her her dying wish and embark on the journey to find and deliver Ellie to the Fireflies, the group who's supposed to engineer the vaccine. And if you have heard of The Last of Us before, you'll probably know that the ensuing relationship between Joel and Ellie is, for most people, the main selling point of the game. One of the main reasons why this relationship works so well is because the game spends virtually every minute of its runtime on developing it. Cutscenes only exist for big story events. Most of the actual character building is done through gameplay. Immersion is a big factor here, so you can be distracted from other hard-hitting facts, like the fact that you once started this Last of Us video project with gleeful ambition, just to commit hours of your life over the span of a whole year on multiple drafts, just for each and every one of them to be scrapped and for you to be burned out about the whole thing by actually never having completed anything, and knowing that whatever the final result will be, it will never be able to meet your lofty expectations. And it's kind of stupid writing all this, because it's all kind of bullshit. Of course it is normal to be disappointed, to feel like you wasted time of your life away, and every time I look at the Last of Us footage I have recorded for this video, so many thoughts just start running through my head that when I try to write them down, I feel like no matter what, I could never truly do them justice. But when I look back at the footage, when I listen to the game's music and try to see the game only for what kind of feelings it conveys, it can also make me feel completely at ease with that fact. And as cheesy as that may sound, that is because of Joel and Ellie. They meet each other at a time where both of them have no loving human connections, and they end up becoming that connection for each other. And when Ellie tells some stupid jokes in an attempt to lighten the mood, or when Joel reveals his childhood dream, slowly opening up to Ellie and the world around him, and you have spent so much time with the characters, you can feel that warmth and security they feel around each other develop. And I guess that is why I love this game so much. And even though what I'm gonna say now will make my life seem way shittier than it ever was, I think that exact feeling was something that I had almost forgotten back when I played the game for the first time. That warm, fuzzy feeling of being in the company of someone you love seemed almost foreign to me. That is why I kept coming back to this game over all these years, and that is why I'm gonna keep coming back for the foreseeable future, because no matter how often I play this game, I never seem to get tired of that wonderful chemistry between Joel and Ellie. Maybe one day I will accomplish what I set out to do in the first place, to create some sort of analysis of the stories in both games, maybe not. But when I look back at The Last of Us and remind myself of what made me fall in love with it in the first place, I feel like it would be alright no matter what.